You recording?
We good.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy M-Carp, aka Mario Carpentieri. That's your boy Soupy, aka Nate Campbell, and welcome to the first episode of All You Can Talk
So
Sports.
excited for
How you
this.
doing today, Nate?
Hey man, I'm hanging in there, dog. What's up with you? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, bro. I'm doing pretty good. You ready to talk sports?
Yes, sir. That's what we
Let's
do
go.
all
First
the time.
episode. This is the start of something special. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Tomorrow night, we got on ESPN Vasyl Lomachenko going up against Teofimo Lopez. This is a unification bout. All four titles are going to be on the line on free TV, ESPN. God, I love Bob Arum, bro. Four titles on the line on ESPN. That should be a pay-per-view. But Bob Arum said, you know what? Let's give the fans something they should watch for free. Love that dude. All right, Nate, give me a prediction. Who do you think's going to win, Vasyl Lomachenko or Teofimo Lopez?
Hmm. See, that's a tough one because you got Machenko. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a pretty defensive fighter. He's got great footwork. He knows how to dodge. He knows how to move his head. Then you got Lopez. He's got that nice reach. He's very aggressive. But he's not as defensive as Lomachenko is. So if I gotta be honest, man, it can go either way. But if I'm gonna be honest with you, 100%, I think it's gonna be Lomachenko that takes this one. I think the defense is gonna play a huge factor.
Look, bro. Listen, look. I completely agree with you. I love Lomachenko. Personally, I love Lopez too. I love them both. I mean,
Absolutely.
honestly, if you would ask me, I think I like Lopez like as a fighter a lot more. But for this fight, I think I got Lomachenko winning by decision, and I'm gonna let you know why. Let me give you some stats here. Okay, against Linares, he went 140 he landed 140 punches at a 598 versus Linares. He knocked him out in the 10th round. These are important, okay? Linares had, in my opinion, statistically from those 10 rounds, the the most success against Lomachenko, besides the loss that Lomachenko took earlier in his career.
Hmm.
But think about it this way: Linares, he had the most success against Lomachenko, and only scored 28% of his punches landed. Only 28, and that's the guy who had the most success against him. Let me go to somebody else. Okay, Luke Campbell. He fights Luke Campbell. Okay,
Right.
he goes 194 for 482. Now, let me tell you something. Lomachenko is a very consistent fighter. There's a reason why he's one of the pound for pound greatest fighters right now. There's a reason why he's the quickest fighter to ever gain three championships in one weight class, if you want to say it like that. But just take a guess. How many punches do you think Luke Campbell, or what's the percentage you think Luke Campbell scored against Lomachenko? Just take a guess.
Let's take a guess at 51%.
You think he landed 51%? Go lower.
Go lower. All right, we'll go 40.
Go lower.
30.
Go lower. Go
How
lower.
low are we talking? All right, we're talking 10, right? We talking 10%.
Go lower.
Zero.
9%. This
Nine
guy
percent.
landed 9%. Guess how many punches he thrown?
I take a wild guess.
1,007. He
Jesus.
thrown 1,007 punches in that fight and only landed 91. Vasily Lomachenko landed 194 out of 482. So just right there alone, that right there, that's just an example, one example out of many of Lomachenko's insane defense.
Just great
Then we
defense
go to
right there.
Pedraza. Now Pedraza went the distance with Lomachenko. Lomachenko landed 240 punches out of 738, and Pedraza landed 11.9%. Let's call it 12%. Let's be nice to Pedraza. He landed 12%. And these three guys are former champions. But what we're gonna do here is look. I think Lomachenko is gonna win, but we're not gonna take anything away from Teofimo. We're not gonna do that. Okay, Teofimo is a great fighter.
Great
All
fighter.
right, Teofimo, he's only went the distance once in his professional career. Once. This is all we can think of. He went the distance against Nakatani. Nakatani gave him some trouble. Nakatani landed 22%. Lopez landed 166 out of 510. So that's roughly about near 45, probably near like 45%. Near there. So with that being said, if Lopez has any chance of winning, okay, because all these experts are already counting out Lopez. He's the underdog. But you know what? Knowing Lopez and his mindset,
He's
he
gonna
probably
go all the
likes it
way.
that way.
He's
He probably likes it that way. Now people think he'll be lucky if he goes the distance. But here's the thing. Lopez got to do it within the first 6 rounds. Lopez has to do it within the first 6 rounds. Because let me tell you something. If Lopez goes 6 rounds, gives out all his energy, and doesn't knock Lomachenko out, Lopez might get knocked out.
He might
Because
get
here's the
knocked
thing.
out.
Lomachenko's knocking people out in the 10th round, dude. Not the first, not this the 10th round. There's 12 rounds in a fight. He's knocking people out in the 10th. The 10th. Lopez is knocking people out in the third, fourth, and fifth. Lopez has to, bro. He has to get him out within these first 6 rounds, within the
I
first half of the fight.
I think Lomachenko is gonna make Lopez tire. He's gonna make Lopez tire himself out with that great defense and the great aggressiveness. Something's
Right.
got to
Well,
break eventually.
well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Lopez got to stay right in Lomachenko's face. Here's the thing. They each had 15 fights. They each had 15 fights.
Right.
Lomachenko's 14-1. Lopez is 15-0. Lomachenko, though, within those 15 fights, has fought champions like Linares, Luke Campbell, and Jorge Pedraza. Those guys ain't no flukes. Those were top guys in his weight class. And Teofimo Lopez be Richard Comey. That's like the best guy he's fought so far.
Right.
So Lopez don't have that experience. He doesn't have that experience yet. But like Lopez says, he says, in order for me to be the best, I got to gain this experience. Much respect to him. He's not
Right.
ducking
Right.
from nobody. So here's the thing. One thing that they mentioned, one of Lopez's strengths, his secret strength, that it's not really a secret. He does it good, but one thing that people don't like highlight about him is his body shots. Teofimo Lopez has some nice body shots. And Lomachenko's weakness, I think, one of the shots he gets hit with the most is body shots. Despite how little he gets hit, one of the shots he gets hit with the most is body shots. So with that being said, Lopez, the problem with body shots is when you go for a body shot, you're leaving your head open. And
Right.
Lomachenko, if he's a defensive fighter, that means he's really good with counterattacks too on that.
Right.
If you
Right.
leave if you leave your head open, Lomachenko, or if you leave anything open, Lomachenko's going to target that. He's going to use his defense to make sure you don't hit him, and he's going to target that. But if Lopez wants to put the pressure on Lomachenko, that's the best way he can do it, is with that body shot. But he's got to make sure those body shots land, they land hard, and he's going to make sure that there's some openings with Lomachenko where he can knock him out or knock him down.
Right.
Because again, in boxing, we saw this with Fury and Wilder. Fury was dominating the fight boxing wise, but then Wilder had those two knockdowns.
Absolutely.
And even though like some people, it was a controversy that Deontay Wilder should have lost, those two knockdowns is what kept him in the fight. So if Lopez, it's very unlikely because Lomachenko is a fantastic defensive fighter. But if Lopez can somehow get a knockdown or two on Lomachenko, I know it's a lot to ask for, but you know what? Hey, maybe Lopez is up for the challenge. If he can get some knockdowns on Lomachenko, he might have something, bro. He could possibly walk away with 4 titles. But with all the odds that are going, with all the favorites, we're going with the pound for pound best, bro, who's faced 3 champions so far. I think Lopez is a little too young. Give me Lomachenko for this fight.
I definitely have
Anything
to
you want
agree
to add
with
on
you.
that, Nate?
I definitely agree with you 100% on that one.
And look, I mean, this is a big fight. This is one fight I've been so excited for. Besides the Roy Jones Mike Tyson exhibition, I mean, everybody's looking forward to that one. But that's like an exhibition. It's
this
really
is
not going to count for
definitely
nothing.
this is definitely something I want to check out because I want to see how Lopez handles Lomachenko, defensively and offensively. I think I think with Lopez, great fighter, like you said. I think his defense is a little lacking, but I want to see how this plays out. I think it'll be interesting.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I remember Lopez is such an entertaining guy, man. Like he is. Like I remember like every single I call him the Heisman boxer because every single monumental or memorable knockout that he has, he's always doing that backflip and he's always got that Heisman jersey on Heisman Day. 2 times he's
Absolutely.
fought on Heisman Day. He did it with Kyler and he did it with Joe Burrow. I like to call him the Heisman boxer because he's an entertaining boxer. He talks a lot of trash, like he says, but he says at the end of the day, I can walk it. And that's
Right.
the thing. I mean, I love Bob Arum, bro, because any other company, dude, this would have been a pay-per-view fight. We would have had to pay for it. Bob Arum said, well, why not give these people what they want for free? Man, this is think about it, man. This is 4 titles on the line, dude.
This is something everybody
Four
wants to see.
titles. 4 titles on the line, bro. On free TV on ESPN tomorrow on Saturday.
This is something
Look,
that's
in my
definitely going to
opinion,
be.
Lomachenko might be the best defensive boxer right now, without a doubt. He has to be. He has to be. I mean, he has to be. He's pound for pound probably one of the best right now. Him and maybe Terrence Crawford. People are saying this is going to be big because not
It's
only
going
do
to
they
be
have this
very.
coming up, but like in a month or two, in a few. Actually, I don't even. I would have to research it, but they got Javante Tank Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz, and that's going to be a good fight too because a lot of these big fights that are coming up, they're setting up fights with people like, depending on who the winner is between Lomachenko and Lopez, then we got Javante Davis coming into the conversation, Leo Santa Cruz, Ryan Garcia. We got all
Right.
these guys coming in. These are going to start making the big fights, but it's all up to the promoters to make these fights. But shout out to Bob Arum, bro, because bro, for him to make a fight like this on free
I
TV.
tip my captain to make it free. I really do.
Do anything else you want to touch up on this situation or this topic?
I think I've touched up on everything.
Think so?
Yep.
I'll say this. I'll add one more thing. I'll say this. I think if Lomachenko doesn't, or even Lopez, if one of them don't embarrass the other, if this don't end in like a knockout or something big, even if it does, right? Like the only way I could see this not going, like even then I couldn't even like say, but like I think this is good. I think they might have a rematch after this. Whoever loses,
Absolutely.
and Bob Arum said it. He said, "I didn't put a rematch in this I didn't put a rematch clause in this contract." He said because I feel like the fighters should be able to make a decision on whether or not they want to make the rematch or not. And I think
Yeah.
that's brilliant by him. And I think if Lopez and Lomachenko, whoever lost, would have been like would say Bob Arum, look, listen, I want my rematch. I want my to get these belts back. I think Bob Arum would have a problem making it.
Absolutely. I agree.
So shout out to him. This is gonna be a good fight. Check it out tomorrow, Saturday o'clock, ESPN. All right, Nate, you're up. Next topic. What you got for me?
So just the other day, the Clippers signed head coach. They signed a new head coach, Tyronn Lue. Mario, what do you think about this? Do you think this is a good fit for LA, or do you think they're gonna regress in their quest for a cup or a championship, however you want to say it?
um, Personally, I mean, it's tough, man. It really is. And this one's actually tough because Tyronn Lue. I mean, we all remember him as the head coach when the Cavs won
The
that
Cavs
2016
went to the
NBA championship when LeBron, and the Cavs came back from that 3-1. But the thing is, what I like about a coach, this is how you can tell from who a real good coach is when a lot of coaches don't get the credit they deserve. A lot of coaches will coach LeBron James. They don't get the credit they deserve. You know
absolutely
what I'm saying? Because
because they
I
feel
mean,
like
and
those
it's I mean,
don't.
don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's LeBron James. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Those people
Like
believe
LeBron James
that.
can make any coach look good.
Yeah, those people believe that. The critics believe that LeBron doesn't need to be coached.
Right. 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 LeBron's like a player coach himself. But here's the thing: there are coaches who've gone past that idea of needing LeBron to do good things. Look at Eric Spoelstra. He didn't have LeBron with that Heat team. That's a very young Heat team, and he took them to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, right.
He took them to the NBA Finals against LeBron, despite them losing. He went Game 6. Tell me another coach in the NBA that played against him in these playoffs that went to Game 6. You couldn't because they didn't do it. So, and again, Doc Rivers, the coach before Tyronn Lue, even him, he was coaching that big three in Boston: Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett. That's a really good team right there. But then he goes to Clippers, and then he's got like the Lob City, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. He's got these amazing teams that he coaches. But Doc Rivers, when Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, when they were all gone, when there was no more Lob City, when there was no more big three in Boston, he took a Clippers team whose best player was probably Lou Williams. Okay, not trashing Lou Williams and nothing like that. He's a good player, but is he a star yet? In my opinion, no. But he took a team like that to 48 wins. Regardless, they lost to the Golden State Warriors. He put up a fight against the Golden State Warriors with that team. And the next thing you know, he had Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. We all know the 3-1 that was blown right there. But this is the top. But going back to the topic, Tyronn Lue, this is his chance to prove that he is a good coach. Because the other thing is, remember, it's a 5-year contract he has.
Right.
Kawhi Leonard's got 3 years on that contract, 103 million, and not to mention he's got a player option. Paul George was also signed to 3 years. I would have to look it up again, but I'm pretty sure Paul George would have a player option as well.
I
So the thing
think.
is,
Go on.
no, you go, you good.
I think this is a great choice for LA, and I think this is gonna be more of an improvement for them because if you notice, they were very packed in the paint. They were kind of forcing it a lot. Tyronn Lewis is not Tyronn Lewis, Tyronn Lue. He's gonna make them spread out a little bit, make more paths of the paint. Make it a lot less difficult to drive in more. Get them spread out, open up the floor a little bit. Make the defense spread out as well, get more paths. I think that's gonna be a great thing for LA to do, and I think Tyronn Lue is going to be a perfect choice for LA. I think that's a great choice.
Well, this is what he's. This is his proving mark to say like, look, because after LeBron left, that team was horrible. We're not blaming that on Tyronn Lue. It's just there wasn't. It's
There
just there
just
wasn't a
wasn't
lot of
anybody left.
there wasn't a lot of people that would develop to actually take the Cleveland Cavs to good things. And then Kevin Love was obviously going through injuries and all that type of stuff.
Right.
So like this is going to be a big part. This is going to be a big point for him because I want to because it's not about these next 2 years. It has nothing to do with that. I guarantee you, if Kawhi Leonard and George is on that team, they're going to do good these next 2 years. It's all about the 3 years after that you're on contract. If
Absolutely.
Kawhi Leonard decides, hey, look, after these next 2 years, after these remaining 2 years on his contract, if he decides, hey, look, I don't want to be in LA no more, let me dip, then Tyronn Lue is going to have to prove his coaching ability
Absolutely.
with what he has. You know what I'm saying? Now, look, either now most likely side to me is pointing like Tyronn Lue is going to have a successful coaching career with Clippers because if Kawhi Leonard decides like, hey, I enjoy where I am, but personally, I think Kawhi Leonard is going to enjoy where he is unless he wins a championship.
Unless he wins a
Even then,
championship,
like he
right?
won a championship with Toronto and left. But I think if he wins a championship with the Clippers, I think he might consider resigning for like another 2 or 3 years. So if that happens, Tyronn Lue is in a better situation because
He's got more time to prove himself.
your star players is back. Your star players is back. It makes your coaching job a lot more easier. If you have a good coach, it makes it easy on the player. If you have a good player, it makes it easy on the coach. It's just as simple as that. You know what I'm saying? Michael Michael Jordan made it easy for Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson made it easy for Michael Jordan. Same thing with Kobe and Phil Jackson, vice versa. Eric Spoelstra, LeBron James, Steve Kerr, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, them. So, but again, with high standard players and star players comes higher responsibility.
Right.
Kawhi Leonard, again, you could tell from expectations this year, it was either him or LeBron were going to win a championship. They said the expectations was to see the Clippers and the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. That was the expectation right there
And it
from a
never
lot of
happened.
people, and it didn't happen. So what happened there? Doc Rivers goes. He parts ways. So now he's in Philly. Tyronn Lue was the assistant coach there. Was the assistant coach last year.
Right.
He comes in. Now we got to see if Tyronn Lue can fulfill the goal of the LA Clippers that Doc Rivers was supposed to fulfill that year. And
He's
that's what
got
it's
to
going to come down
succeed.
to. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. It's going to come down to, and again, like you said, he creates a lot of space in the paint for people to drive in. Well, Kawhi Leonard is great at driving in. Kawhi Leonard is great at mid-range. Kawhi Leonard is a good defender. Now, go to Paul George. Let's go to Paul George for a second, okay?
Right.
Paul George is a shooter. He's a driver too, but he's a shooter. When you have a dual threat like that, do you think, let me ask something, him spacing the paint and causing the paint to be open, do you think that helps Paul George in his shooting to shoot threes? That gives him more opportunities, or do you think that kind of takes away the shooting part of Paul George's skill?
It can go both ways, really. I mean, if you think about it, and him spreading out the floor a little bit, keeping a couple guys on the corners, couple guys in the wing. You got that one guy in the middle. Someone's got to shoot that ball. So I think it's close. I think it's gonna hurt his ability more to get into the paint. If he's a shooter, it's gonna hurt his ability a little bit more in the paint than opposed to him shooting. Because he's more of a shooter type player.
Right. And don't get me wrong, Paul George can drive too. Paul George is a good offensive player. He's a good defensive player all around. But again, see, that's what concerns me about his offense is that it could either drastically hurt Paul George is like not hurt his ability to shoot because he's always gonna have that ability to shoot, but it might take away some of those opportunities for him to shoot. Because again, you have people like Lou Williams who can shoot. You have Morris who can shoot. Morris in the Clippers is actually a really good shooter for a big man. Patrick Beverly sometimes can let it up from the three and everything like that.
Right.
And so with that, again, it could take away opportunities for Paul George to shoot. But again, this is Tyronn Lue's chance to prove, like, look, I'm a good coach. It's probably not his mindset, but this is his chance to prove, be like, look, I'm a good head coach. I can coach any team that you put in front. I can coach this team that you put in front of me right here to a high standard.
Right.
Big problem where Tyronn Lue is now. When he was with the Cavs, what conference is that?
That's the Eastern Conference.
Okay, and what conference in the NBA is the strongest?
In my opinion, it's got to be the Western.
Exactly. So if that's the case, who does Tyronn Lue have to run into 4 times a year?
LeBron.
Who else? Westbrook and Harden. That Denver Nuggets team. Portland. Utah, right? Utah.
The Suns. He's
Suns
got to run into Damian Lillard.
All right. The Suns. I mean, what they showed in the bubble, it looks like they can be making some big improvements on that team.
He's got to run into Luka Doncic and the Mavericks.
The Mavericks, right? So like, when you look at it, it's going to be a tough road for Tyronn Lue. It's going to be tough, man. But he's got to prove, like, look, Clippers are still a top team. I believe that too. They're still a top team, but he's got to prove that he can fulfill the goal of the LA Clippers that Doc Rivers didn't fulfill.
I still really think it's a great choice. I guess that he coached an Eastern Conference team, but you also got to remember he did carry them to a championship against the Warriors. They were red hot. We all know this. They won 3-4 championship. Was it 3?
At the time it was
1, but like overall
they won. Yeah, they won 3.
They won 3. You know, that was a super hot dynasty, the Warriors. You know, no one thought they were going to win. And I think that if he was capable of doing that, I think he can hold his own in the Western Conference against LeBron, against all these other guys. I think, you know, the more he plays them, the more he learns from what they do, and he can use that against them. I think that's going to be a great thing. You know, he's going to learn more, given that he's on a 5-year deal with the Clippers. He's going to learn a lot.
It's tough because LeBron, don't get me wrong, he's played Doc Rivers a lot in his career. He played against Doc Rivers a lot in his career. He's played against a lot of coaches a lot of times in his career. But the thing about Tyronn Lue is I used to be his head coach. And if Tyronn Lue is going to have the same approach in Cleveland inside LA, LeBron can eat that up. LeBron can eat that team 4 times every 4 times, whether they win or lose. LeBron is not a dumb player. This guy's got to be the smartest basketball player right now. He has to be. Dude's been playing for 17 years at a high level. It's not just his physical ability, but it's also the play IQ that he has. LeBron, I think, is definitely, I don't even think it's an argument, the smartest basketball player right now. He's the smartest. He's probably the most talented. So with a guy like that, Tyronn Lue has to he can take that game plan that he had with Cleveland, but he's got to adjust it a little bit.
He's got to adjust it because
because if he don't adjust that, LeBron's going to eat him up 4 games. LeBron's just going to eat him up 4 games, and there's not a damn thing that Tyronn Lue is going to do about it. But he has to make sure that he sets openings for other guys with those types of skills. You got Montrezl Harrell, who's a great paint scorer. He's a great defender. You got Paul George, who's a great shooter. You got Pat Bev, who's good on the perimeter defense. It can also shoot the 3. He sometimes gets hot. You got Shamet. You got Morris. You got to make sure that all these guys still have the same opportunities to have to shoot and score. But not only that, you got to make sure that you fix that broken game plan that they had with Doc Rivers for them going 3-1, blowing that 3-1. Now, do I think there's a possible chance that Tyronn Lue can hold his own? Yes, but he's got to make those adjustments in order to do it. Because if he don't, LeBron's going to eat him up.
LeBron's going to eat him.
LeBron could sweep him 4-0 in a regular series, in a regular season. That's my prediction. If this is the same game plan in Cleveland that he made, LeBron can eat him up for 4 games.
It's not going to look good on his end.
Nah, but if he makes those adjustments, Tyronn Lue's got to fight. Tyronn Lue and LeBron James, they're going to battle. That Clippers and Lakers going back to the Battle of LA.
It's like Tyronn's got to use LeBron's knowledge against him, and it's going to be the other way around. LeBron, he's going to use Tyronn's knowledge against him. It's going to be a dogfight, I think.
I think so too. I think so, but that's all. I think so. And then after that, he's also got to worry about if Kawhi Leonard is going to leave after these next 2 years, on the last year of his contract. Is he going to leave? And if Kawhi Leonard leaves, then how are you going to fill that void? Right. And whatever you have to work with, do you keep that same system? Do you change it? In my opinion, Tyronn Lue right now, with the way it looks, with these last 2 years on PG and Kawhi Leonard's contract, he's got a very short time to make it work. He's got to
make it quick like that.
Doc Rivers stayed for the first year. He got him and the Clippers parted ways. Tyronn Lue gets hired. He's got 2 years. He's got more time than Doc, but it's still a short amount of time. He's got 2 years to make it work with Kawhi Leonard and PG. The goal for them is not to make it to the Western Conference and lose to LeBron. That is not their goal. That is not the expectation. It is to go to the Western Conference, beat the Lakers, and win the finals. Kawhi Leonard, if it was just Paul George, people could be making that thing like, let's go to the Western Conference and blah, blah, blah. People could be making those expectations. But when you have Kawhi Leonard on your team, a guy who's won 3 NBA championships, you need to win championships. That is your expectation, especially as a star player.
Absolutely.
You have to.
I 100% agree.
If he loses to LeBron 2 years in a row, they're going to run him out of LA. He's going to be ran out of LA.
He's going to. Because the Clippers fans have been asking for a Western Conference appearance forever now. Now is the chance to do that. Right. It hasn't been a better time to do it than now.
Now, going back to that series when they were up 3-1, Jamal Murray lit it up. Those game 5 and 6. He lit it up. Him and Jokic lit it up game 7. But then again, you look at that game, and you look at what Kawhi Leonard and Paul George were doing. They were shooting horrendous. Their scoring they were not accurate. It looked like they were just throwing up shots and missing.
It looks like they were just winging it.
That is not the expectation that we have for Kawhi Leonard and LA Clippers. That was not the expectation. Our expectation was Lakers, Clippers, Western Conference Finals. It was not Lakers and Nuggets. We weren't expecting that. Especially when they were up 3-1. We were definitely not expecting that.
Yeah, you had to have won that game, and they didn't.
Right. Last time we seen a 3-1. Let me tell you the last teams I can remember that had a memorable 3 run, besides the Nuggets. Golden State versus OKC when Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook were on there. They were up 3-1. Golden State came back. Klay Thompson had that memorable night in the third quarter where he just lit it up. I think like 38 points or something like that. He lit it up. Oh my God, it was amazing. And then that buzzer beater that sent Golden State to the NBA Finals with Steph Curry. So like there you go, Steph Curry, greatness. Klay Thompson, greatness. They conquered a 3-1 that same year. Golden State was up 3-1. Guess who conquered that? LeBron James. Greatness. So you're gonna tell me that Kawhi Leonard and Paul George blew a 3-1 to Jokic and Murray, who are great players, don't get me wrong, but they never won an NBA championship. And you won 3. Remember, Kawhi Leonard's coach for those first 2 championships was Greg Popovich.
Right.
One of the best NBA coaches of all time. He's a future Hall of Famer without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt. Kawhi Leonard's expectations are so much higher than what he gave these playoffs. If he needs to win a championship, he has to. The Clippers have to win a championship. All the pressure is on them. Last year was on LeBron because they had to do it for Kobe because of the Clippers and the Lakers rivalry, which is still continuing. Kawhi Leonard and PG, Tyronn Lue, those three guys, those three stars, those three main factors for the Clippers, they have to win a championship. There is no ifs, ands, or
Absolutely.
buts about it. Oops.
Absolutely.
Anything you want to add to that?
One more thing is that, they're, in my opinion, I think the Clippers are the team with the most to prove next year. If I had to pick which team has the most to prove, it has to be the Clippers. With the high expectations they had last year, they have to meet those this time around. That they didn't.
We're gonna see. Tyronn Lue, he's got the biggest opportunity in front of him.
Absolutely.
He could build his legacy. He could drain it.
We shall see.
We shall see indeed. All right. You want to move on to the next topic?
Let's do it.
All right. So recently, Nick Saban has been tested positive for COVID. He's asymptomatic. He doesn't feel any symptoms or nothing like that. But he really wants to be coaching in this next game against Georgia. The reason why this is so important is because we got Alabama versus Georgia coming up. That's number 2 versus number 3, man. This is not no joke. So let's start with this. Let me ask you this question. So the guidelines in order for Nick Saban to have to coach this game right here, he has to have 3 negative tests. He has to have 3 negative tests. He has to have one Thursday, Friday, and the day and before the game Saturday in order to coach this game coming up. If one of those tests are positive, he don't coach. Listen. So let me ask something. So let me ask something. First of all, I'm not gonna ask you, do you think Nick Saban is gonna coach? Because we can't predict where COVID goes, you know?
Right.
We just can't predict that. So that's a stupid question. So what I'm gonna ask you is this. This is a question that we can answer. Does Alabama need Nick Saban on that sideline to beat Georgia?
Man, that's a really good question because, Nick Saban is a very, very amazing coach. He's been there for a while. I don't think so. I know that sounds really crazy for me to say, but if you really think about it, they know their coach. The players know their coach well. They know his rule book. To me personally, I think Nick Saban should take this game off. At least recover. I'm pretty sure their players know the game book. The drives that they're gonna do, all that, the plays they're gonna do defensively and offensively. I think they can do it. Whether they win the game or not, we'll have to see. But me personally, I think, and especially the other coaches, they know Nick Saban, they know his coaching book. They can just take off from that and go from there if he doesn't coach. So I believe the team can, if they execute perfectly, they can win a game without Nick Saban. I think it's possible.
See, I disagree. See, it is possible. Like anything's possible. I'm not denying that, but I don't think they win this game without Nick Saban. I don't think they win this game. Here's why. If Alabama was playing a random team in D1, I'm not calling out any teams like that, but if they were playing a non-ranked D1 team, okay, then this wouldn't even be a question. This is Alabama. This is Jalen Waddle. This is Mac. This is Alabama, bro. This is not a team to screw it. But the problem with this is you're going up against number 3 Georgia. Okay, Georgia is not a fluke this year. Okay, they're in the top 4 just like you. They're in the top 3 just like you. Okay, I think when it comes to games like these, usually we look at it back when LSU played Alabama. That was a shootout, bro.
Yeah, it was.
That was a shootout.
That was a crazy game. I remember watching that in the living room.
That's a shootout. And again, look, they had Nick Saban on their bench and they lost because LSU is just a better team that year. But here's what I'm saying. Nick Saban is such a genius. He's such a football genius. He has such a big football IQ. I always compared him to the Bill Belichick of college football. I always did, because that's what he is, in my opinion. The Bill Belichick of college football. That's what he is. If they don't have, it's like if the Patriots didn't have Bill Belichick for
They
this
would have
week,
never had that dynasty. Oh, they would have never won. My bad. I was thinking about it all the
right?
time.
But it's like the Patriots playing. I'm trying to think. It's like the Patriots going up against. I want to say. Oh, it's like the Patriots going up against the Ravens. It's like if the Patriots went up against the Ravens. I'll use that example. It's like the Patriots went up against the Ravens and Bill Belichick wasn't there to head coach them. Because remember, an offensive coach can make the plays, can
Right.
make those offensive plays. A defensive coach can make those plays. They can call those plays, but it's up to Nick Saban to confirm those plays. And if Nick Saban is not on that sideline come this game Saturday,
It's
you know,
not.
I don't think Alabama wins. I think Georgia ends up upsetting him. I think Alabama drops out the rankings. Oh, they could prove me wrong. Maybe Alabama's just that skilled of a team to like kick the living snot out of Georgia or even
And
barely beat them.
without their
But
coach.
without their coach, maybe that's possible. But with the way I'm looking at it is Alabama is not Alabama without Nick Saban. They don't do what they do without Nick Saban. You can have Tua, that's fine. You can have Jalen Hurts like they did a few years ago, that's fine. You can have Henry Ruggs and Judy. You can have Derrick Henry. You can have you name them, you can have them. But if without Nick Saban, that team, I don't think it operates. But this is a big one because I don't think Nick Saban's ever like missed a game, and if he has, I couldn't recall it. I just couldn't recall it.
Absolutely.
But we gonna see. But I think without Nick Saban, I don't think this Alabama team wins. Anything you
I
want to add to that?
I believe that if the players can adapt to his game book, like I said, if they adapt to it, they execute perfectly, they have a chance.
Here's the thing. Don't get me wrong. Alabama still got great players. They still have Najee Harris. They got Jalen Waddle. They got all these great players. They got Devontae Smith. They got all these great players, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But and we're not trashing any of them. You know, they got Mac Jones. That's what it was. I'm sorry, I said Mac Brown. Mac Brown, I think, is the coach for UNC. But that's messed up on me. I'm sorry, but they got Mac Jones. They got Mac Jones, who's a great quarterback. I think he's probably one of the top quarterbacks this year. And that's stupid for me to say because I forgot his name. Sorry to him, but hey. But look, man, they need Nick Saban, I think. They did need him.
I can respect that.
You know what I'm saying? Like remember how good Joe Burrow was last year?
Right.
And you remember when he won that Heisman, he was crying and he was like emotionally, he was crying and he thanked Coach Orgeron,
Because he
Ed
couldn't have done it
Orgeron, the
without him.
LSU coach.
He couldn't have done it without him.
Right. That's what I'm trying to get at. Nick Saban is out the face of Alabama football. Who's the face of Alabama football right there. Players come and go after at most 4 or 5 years. They come and go. You know.
Yeah, right.
He stays because he's the head coach of Alabama. He ain't gonna leave that team. I don't think he'll ever leave that team. I think he'll retire with that team. And and hey, I understand why he wants to coach. But
Right.
again, if you get tested positive one time, you can't coach that game, most likely. And look, Georgia's not a team to mess with. This is like the worst week it could have.
It
It's
could have
terrible
happened.
they got COVID in general, but just to add,
The fact that he
just to
has to
add
face
piles of
Georgia
crap
Tech.
on crap, just to add piles of crap on crap. The fact that you're going up against number 3 Georgia this week, the week that you get tested positive, that's an issue.
That's an issue.
That's a big issue for this team. So they need Nick Saban on this sideline. I think. I think if he's not there, I think they lose. Am I going to say it's like a blowout? They get their asses kicked? No. But regardless of that, they still need Nick Saban.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, can the offensive coordinator call plays? Yeah, sure. Can the defensive coordinator call plays? Absolutely. Who does it go through? Nick
The head
Saban.
coach.
Exactly. So with that being said, I think Nick Saban, if he gets 3 negatives, I'll be happy for him that he gets to coach this game. 1 positive, he ain't coaching, I don't think. And I think
I
1
don't think so
positive, if he
either.
don't coach, I think Georgia beats them.
Well, let's hope he gets better. Can only hope for the best.
All right. Before we get to our next topic, I just want to take a break. If I'm like this, am I cut off or not? Is my face cut off?
Your mouth's cut off.
Oh no, damn it.
That's all right.
Yeah, we good. First
Most
episode,
people,
people, first episode.
yeah, most people listening are probably just gonna listen to us instead of watch us.
Hey, we gonna see. Hey,
All
look,
right,
Nate,
what's up?
you up. Next topic, bro.
All right, we're up. Le'Veon Bell to the Chiefs. I was pretty surprised by this. I didn't think he was going to the Chiefs, but Mario, do you think this is a good fit for the Chiefs? Do you think Le'Veon Bell will put up some numbers with the Chiefs?
Look, the Chiefs got they still have sorry, they still got Damian Williams. They just got the rookie, the last pick in the first round, Hilaire Edwards. But if they decide hey, if they want to use Le'Veon Bell a lot more, this is not a bad team for him to join whatsoever. And the Chiefs really caught a break, because if they decided to trade for Le'Veon Bell, if Le'Veon Bell requests, let's suppose Le'Veon Bell just said, I want to trade, I want out of New York, and he requested a trade,
Mhm.
and the Chiefs wanted him. Chiefs would have to pick up that contract. And between re-signing Andy Reid, between re-signing Travis Kelce, between re-signing Patrick Mahomes to that monstrous contract,
They don't have that
I
much
don't
money
even
to
know
work with.
what they would have put themselves in a huge cap hole. But because Le'Veon Bell left the Jets, and because they just swooped him for 1 year,
The Jets just have to pay his contract.
yeah. Look, do I think the Chiefs were a contender for a Super Bowl without him? Yes, I do. For a fact, whenever you had Patrick Mahomes, who was the Super Bowl MVP last year, and plus you added Hilaire Edwards, and you still keep Damian Williams, yeah. And then you got, not to mention, Sammy Watkins, Mecole Hardman, Tyreek Hill, um, Demarcus Robinson. These are big time players. Like any four wide receivers, in my opinion, would have been a star on any other would have been a star wide receiver on any other team. So on a lot of other teams. But again, Le'Veon Bell, arguably his best years were in 2016 and in 2017. Those 2 years with the
With the
Steelers. Oh, and
Steelers.
2014. 2014 was a big one too. So let me read these stats to you, bro. 2014, okay? Le'Veon
Mhm.
Bell. Their offensive line was ranked 8th in the NFL. Keep that in mind. 2016, arguably his best year. Offensive line was ranked 3rd. Okay? 2017, offensive line was ranked 10th. No, no, I'm sorry, not 10th. I'm sorry. I read that wrong. 12th. So his best 3 years with the Pittsburgh Steelers, they were ranked 8th, 3rd, and 12th. They were in the top 15 offensive line all those 3 years. Not to mention, you had Ben Roethlisberger, who could sling the ball like somebody called Patrick Mahomes. They had 2 wide receivers. They had 2017. They had 2 wide receivers in Antonio Brown and Juju Smith Schuster. They still had Antonio Brown back in 2014, except that they had other wide receivers back then. So, and now you look at the Chiefs. Their offensive line ranked this year as 10th. And they got 4 wide receivers, and they got Patrick Mahomes with Travis Kelce. So, if Patrick Mahomes says, "Hey, look, I want to run the ball. I want to run the ball more," or let's hand the ball off, and they decide to go by that game plan, Le'Veon Bell can make a lot of stuff happen. Because again, we look at like the Jets' offensive line, and I don't think they were top 15. They might not even have been top 20, which is probably another reason why Le'Veon Bell wasn't producing as much as he could. Not to mention, when you go to the passing game, they had Robbie Anderson last year, which was good, but like again, Sam Darnold is not Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
So when you put all those offensive weapons around him, it opens up a lot of stuff. It's not like the Patriots where you overflow so many offensive weapons to the point where like some stuff has to give. It's not like that because the Chiefs have 4 star wide receivers. Do all 4 of them get 1,000 yards a year? No, that's not what happens. Usually Tyreek Hill's the number 1, Watkins number 2, Hardman 3, I'm sorry, Demarcus Robinson 4. Then you have Travis Kelce. They got a lot of offensive weapons. But if they want to strengthen up, if one of their needs, in my opinion, was strengthening this running game, because Hilaire Edwards, compared to his debut, he hasn't he hasn't been riding that wave like he should be. But so you add Le'Veon Bell, and you got this nice offensive line here. 10th, they're the 10th in the league. I think this is a great fit for Chiefs, and I think this makes them a bigger threat. They got like another weapon. If Le'Veon Bell can go back to 2016, 2017 and produce great rushing numbers, and be a huge asset for this Chiefs team, he could get a long-term deal with this Chiefs team. You got anything to add to that, Nate?
I absolutely 100% agree with you. And, I personally believe, I personally believe it goes beyond why Le'Veon Bell left the Jets. I don't think he was happy with the Jets. I mean, really, let's be honest, who's really happy with the New York Jets? They're a terrible franchise. No offense, but, it's true. I mean, the coaching staff is horrendous. I was reading reports the other day about Adam Gase. Their relationship. Le'Veon Bell and Adam Gase, they weren't having such a great relationship. And I think that's on him. I think that's on Adam Gase. He should have had a better relationship with his player, and because of the fact that he didn't have a good relationship, his player's off to an even better team who's gonna care about him. And I think the biggest loser here is the Jets. And that's on them for not doing what's necessary to make their player comfortable where they're at. And I think being with the Chiefs is going to be a great fit for Bell. I think he's going to be a lot better. I think he's going to definitely be a lot more happier. That's for damn sure. The Jets just aren't. They're a depressing franchise. I hate that I'm saying that on here, but it's just, let's face the facts, guys. I think Le'Veon Bell is going to do great in Kansas City. And I think it goes just beyond, who he's going to be playing with. I think it goes on beyond as to why, he left.
And again, just like the Tyronn Lue topic, this is a big proving point for Le'Veon Bell, because a lot of people think that he ain't the same running back, right? But this is his chance to prove it. Look, I was with the New York Jets. We didn't really have a lot of stuff to work with. He was getting ran out probably off that team by Frank Gore, who's starting now. And this is a chance for him to prove that with the right team, I could be a premier running back again. I could be elite. I can be one of the best running backs in the league.
Absolutely.
Anything you want to add to that, Nate? Or anything that you want to share?
I think that's it.
And that was a quick topic.
That was a pretty quick one. All right.
Going back to the MLB.
All right.
Now listen. Now before we start, all right, we got a little bet going on here. Okay. All right, Nate over here thinks that the Rays that he said to me earlier, if the Rays beat the Yankees or eliminate the Yankees, they go all the way. And they eliminated the Yankees, and he's telling me that the Rays are going all the way. Well, I said to him, look, before this postseason starts, I think it's going to be the Dodgers. I personally think it's going to be the Dodgers, everything, and the Dodgers are done 3-1. So I need the Dodgers to make a little pull a Denver Nuggets, pull a Golden State Warriors against OKC, pull a Cleveland Cavs on them. I need the Dodgers to come back 3-1, because if Rays win the whole thing, I have to wear whatever jersey he tells me to wear.
Or if the Dodgers lose in general.
And if the Dodgers lose in general, if the Dodgers, that wasn't the bet. The Dodgers
win. Bet wasn't the Dodgers lose in general. The Dodgers lose. That
wasn't the bet.
It was. I said if the Dodgers lose in the World Series or don't make it, you have to buy the jersey that I tell you to wear. But it has to be a team that was in the postseason this year. But if the Dodgers win, I have to buy a Dodgers jersey.
All right, yeah, he has to buy a Dodgers jersey of my choice.
Yeah,
because personally, I think Nate's a Dodgers hater, but he don't want to admit that on here. You just don't.
All right.
But anyway, let's go back to it. So yesterday, Carlos Correa, he had a walk-off home run to send the Astros to a game 6. What do you think? Let's start with that. Let's start with that before we get into any others. What do you think about that? Do you think the Astros are starting to gain momentum on?
I personally thought they were done after game 3. But it looks like after game 3, they're gaining that momentum back. Jose Altuve, he wasn't playing that great in the regular season. Now he's starting to show up. He hit a
Yeah, he
couple
had
of
a
home
big
runs.
turnaround.
He had a big turnaround. He's starting to get on base more. He's hitting home runs again. That's something he proved against the A's and even a little bit lesser with the Twins, but he started to show himself in the second round of the division series. Correa's starting to turn around. The whole team in general is starting to turn it around. And I still have them losing, but this could be the chance for them to prove me wrong. Their pitching wasn't looking all that great. Lance McCullers is stepping up. Zach Greinke stepping up. Now that Garrett Cole is gone, Justin Verlander is out for all of next year. He's done for the year. He's probably going to retire, given that he has a Tommy John surgery to deal with. I think the Astros are stepping up now. Most of their veterans are gone. And I think this is their chance. And I was talking about this with my dad earlier. He says if the Astros win Game 6, they're going to pull a Red Sox and from 04, and they're going to win it all. I hope that doesn't happen. I personally don't think so. I think everybody in America, the last team they want to see win the World Series is the Houston Astros. And I'm one of those people.
Besides Astro fans, but
yeah. But if they win, if they win the World Series, I'll give them my credit. They regained that momentum after being down 3-0. Now they're down by 1 game. They can prove themselves. They can, even though they had a losing record, that doesn't matter in the regular. Once you hit the postseason, everything you did in the regular season doesn't matter. You gotta prove that everything you did in the regular season is gonna prove that you won a World Series, and that's what they're trying to prove with what very little they have.
Let me ask something. Because the Astros, because they walked off 2 games in a row, what do you think do you think there's something wrong that the Rays are doing, or or do you think it was just like luck that they hit those home runs? And if it's something wrong that they're doing, what do you think that they need to do to kind of turn it around so they can win this series and advance to the World Series?
I personally believe the Rays need to up the more specifically the bullpen. The starting pitching is great. They look very, very solid. Their ERA isn't that bad. It's 3.25. Their starting rotation is pretty solid. Tyler Glass now leading the way. I personally think it's the bullpen. I think the bullpen needs to step it up a little bit. They've already given up a couple walk-off homers. They need to stop leaving the fastballs in the middle of the plate where it's going to go gonking out of the field. I think, focus on location, focus on the weakest parts of the Astros lineup, focus on what they're most weakest and just shut them down. That's all they got to do. And that's something they haven't been doing these last couple of games. I think that's something they need to step up on.
Yeah, it's weird. It's especially because, see, what I think it is, it's not the main thing, but what I think a factor is that a lot of guys within that first 3-0, a lot of guys in the Astros that weren't stepping up, like Altuve is starting to step up. Carlos Correa, Springer's stepping up. Correa's stepping up. Like, these guys, they're starting to step up. And another thing I want to ask you, do you think this is like a momentum game for like the Astros, or do you think it's starting to gain momentum? Or like, do you think it's more of like the Rays like kind of like choking? Maybe it's a little bit of both.
I think it's a little bit of both, but it's more on the Astros gaining momentum, and here's why. Because the Astros, more specifically Carlos Correa, I've been hearing them all postseason. We keep on proving our haters on. Let's keep doing it. They're probably following his lead, gaining that attitude. These guys want us out. After what we did back in 2017, they want us out. And I think the attitude, that no, we're not doing that no more. That they think they're gonna count us out because we're not cheating. We don't know what pitches we're coming at. They're gonna prove them wrong and say, you know what, we don't need a trash can and a camera to show, we know what pitch we're gonna come. We're gonna prove you guys wrong, and we're gonna kick these guys' asses. And I think that's what's happening here. I think their momentum is gaining. And I agree, it's a little bit of both. The Rays need to step it up, but the Astros are just stepping it up more.
So all right? So let me go through this right now. Let me go through this real quick. So the first game of the ALCS, the Rays barely win. They win 2-1.
Right.
All right. Second game of the ALCS, they win 4-2.
Right.
Third game, they win 5-2. So those 3 games right there that the Rays win, they're improving just a little bit every single game, but they're still improving. Right. But they're still improving. This was never really, none of these teams were ever really blowing out the other,
Yeah, right. It was
so then
relatively close.
So then game 4 comes and the Astros hit that walk-off. They found a way to keep it in. Do you think? Do you think it's more? Do you think that the Astros? Do you think the Astros bullpen did a better job come game 4 and 5 to actually keep the Astros in the game, opposed to like leaving them behind 2 runs, 3 runs than they did like the first 3 games? Or do you think
Absolutely.
it's more of
I,
like the hitting come stepping up? Like who do you think right now between the Astros bullpen or the Astros hitting is keeping them in these close games? Who do you think has more to who do you think is more to take credit? The bullpen or the hitters?
that one's tough because I think it goes more towards the hitter side because if you think about it, the Rays got their runs early and the bullpen kind of did their job, kept it relatively close. In the first game, like you said, 2-1, that could have been a lot worse. They held their own even though they lost the game. Same thing with game 2 and 3. They were down by 2, 3 runs respectively. They held their own. Those runs were scored early. I personally think the hitting's starting to clutch up a little bit. And I think what the Rays need to do, take it from me. I pitch in baseball. I still do. Take it from me. The Rays need to look. They need to watch back. They need to go back at their highlights from the last 5 games. Watch what they swing at and what they don't. You know, also look at what pitches do they need to throw. Throw it there, throw it that. Inside, outside. Get them swinging at this. Get them swinging at that. I think that's something the Rays need to start doing because the hitting's clutching up. And when hitting clutch up, any good hitter can crush any good pitcher. And they need to figure it. It's other way around. Good pitching can beat good hitting. But the pitchers need to on the race side need to figure out, where are they weakest? Exploit that weakness and just bring them down on the ground. But the Astros momentum with hitting is making them do otherwise. And I think it's the hitting on the Astros side that's really starting to clutch up here.
You were when you were saying that you were glitching. You were like exploit our weakness, and you were like, and then all of a sudden I was like bring it back to the ground. I was like, I was like the hell.
Whoops.
But nah, you good. I heard everything you said because I ended up speeding it, so
All
like
right.
it didn't like skip over it. But see, I don't know because it could be that simple of like what to swing at and what not to.
Right.
But it's always a different pitcher every game. With a
Absolutely.
different pitcher, they have a lot of different like they have a lot of different balls that they have a lot. Some pitchers have more control over some balls than others, and
Absolutely.
so it's easy to say with one pitcher. But like when you go up against a different one, again, that ball could be so far outside, but then it
They have,
somehow curves right in, and you didn't even expect it.
they have
So
different attributes.
I think it's more of it is studying like what to swing at and what not to, but I think it's more of looking at that pitcher. If you see that pitcher and he's pitching that game, and not only that, you also got to if you're a hitter, both teams, you also got to keep your eyes on
You
the
got to keep your
bullpen,
eyes on the pitcher.
on
Yeah.
everybody in that bullpen because you don't know who's gonna come out, you don't know who's gonna step out. You know what I'm saying? Closers is different because like if they have one closer, then you can tell if it's close, that closer is gonna come
Yeah.
out, and then you know how to like hit off of him. And especially that, can you still see me?
Yeah.
Okay. And especially that, sorry, the screen for some reason popped up on some random thing, but but anyway, that's not the point. But especially closers is probably the easiest to study so far right now, especially in
Absolutely.
a postseason, because if you're keeping these games from like if the biggest like jump that you've had was a three, if the biggest like differential in points that you've had in these games is a 3 point game, either way, the closers probably coming out ever since. You know what I'm saying? For
Right.
each team. So like you can study that closer a lot more, especially the fact that you're going to a game 6 now. Because the Astros dealt with the closers. The Astros dealt with the closers,
And now they're
and the Rays done the same thing. I think here's the thing though. I think if these games are very close, come towards like the later innings, I think the Astros might make it to the World
they might make
Series.
it back. I agree. I
And the reason
100%
why is
agree.
because they faced them Rays at them Rays, whether win or lose, they faced them Rays closers many times
Now
these
they
playoffs.
know
I don't think the Rays have had exactly. I don't think the Rays have enough experience going up against these closest. But then again, it's all about studying.
you gotta
It's all about
watch. You gotta watch what's going on. Pay more attention.
right. What is and especially now, then you put the other factors in. What does he do again? What kind of pitches does he throw against lefties? Does he throw against righties? If you have a switch hitter, what does he do then? And not only that, if you're one of those players in that team, what pitches is he throwing against you and
Absolutely.
specific? And you got to control that. It's all up to you. You got to look at all those things. Bullpen, you got to look at everybody in the bullpen. That's a tough task because there's so many people in the bullpen. You'll know who could come out. Starters, it's easier than the bullpen, but it's tougher than the closers because the starters come out like once every 3 games.
Yeah.
So like with that being said, it's easier to study than the bullpen in a sense because again the bullpen comes out more than the starter, but because
Yeah.
there's so many people in the bullpen, you can't tell who is going to come out.
Exactly.
But this is all what it's about. I think it's all about the hitters studying the pitchers, and they probably do this. But you also gotta. But again, this is the time for the Rays to make sure, like, hey, look,
They can
we
secure
cannot
this
keep
game
letting go of
6.
walk-off home runs each game.
They have to.
We gotta. I think the Rays, what they have to do. I think if these games are so close to the ending innings, I think the Astros might be able to take Game 6 and 7. If one of these games ends up coming through like 2 or 3 runs, and the Astros are going into late innings down by 2 or 3 runs, I think the Rays can beat them.
I agree. I 100% agree. Now, I got nothing else to add, so let's last topic of the night.
We got not really last topic. We still got a little bit more. So like,
wait,
we still got a little bit more. We still got to talk about.
I have less than.
What time you gotta leave?
I'm leaving at 6:50. So
6:50. All right, we'll try to make this. We'll try to make these as quick as possible. Okay.
So let's. All right, I'll let you start this one off because you still want me to lose this bet. So
nah, I need
Braves and Dodgers. Braves and Dodgers.
All right.
What you?
All right, look, man. Right now, there's nothing really great to praise about the Dodgers. We talked about the team that has Cody Bellinger and Mookie Betts, bro. Then you got Justin Turner. Then you got Corey Seager.
You got the new catcher Will Smith. He's stepping it up too.
Clayton You got Clayton Kershaw. You have like what I don't understand it.
Walker Buehler.
And all right, they go down 2-1 against the Braves. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is the complete opposite of what's been happening, bro. The complete opposite, dude. This is the complete opposite. Like it really is. Besides game 1, the Braves beat the Dodgers 5-1. Okay, that's a 4-run game. I call that getting your butts kicked. Not gonna lie.
Absolutely.
And just in the censored way, because if we weren't on camera, I'd be saying something different. Game 2, it's a close game, 8-7. It was a high scoring game, but 8-7. The Braves ended up coming out with that win.
15-3. That shows for some improvement.
15-3. Now, when I saw 15-3, I was like Dodgers. I was like, the Dodgers are going to come. I was like, the Dodgers are gaining momentum on them.
I said the same as that thing, and then they lose the next game 10-2.
Then they lose 10-2. So here's my problem. Here's my problem. Did the Braves just gain momentum? Did the Braves just take the momentum right back from the Dodgers? Did the Dodgers have anything left?
I think it could be both because if you really think about it, the biggest problem with the Dodgers this postseason is pitching, without a doubt. They have a couple of good pitchers. Clayton Kershaw held his own before he gave up 4 runs in the 6th, and Walker Buehler, he needs no explanation. I think the Braves just after getting beat 15-3, they were like, you know what, that's a hard loss, but that doesn't mean we can lose from this altogether. We can still come back from 15-3 and, beat these guys to death. And that's exactly what they did in game 4. They proved that, they're not dead after 15-3. A lot of teams that lose at that score, I'll take, for example, in 2018, in the division series against the Red Sox and Yankees, the Red Sox stomped the Yankees in New York 16-1. And guess what? The Yankees never won the next game. And they lost that series as a result. The Braves are showing, we lost by 12 runs, but you know what? We're not going to let that stop what we want to do and bring a championship home to Atlanta. I think right now the Braves are taking that momentum right back from LA and using it against them.
All right. Personally, if you ask me, I think the Braves took it. I think the Braves already took it. Do I think the Dodgers get beat by 8 runs again? No, but if you had to ask me, as much as I don't want to lose this bet, looks like the Dodgers are probably going to lose this 3-1. And if they win this one, they're going to have to win the next. They're going to have to pull an Astro.
They're going to have to pull an Astro.
And it doesn't look like a good thing for the Dodgers right now. It really doesn't. But let me ask something before we get off this topic real quick, because you have a little bit less time, and then we got to get to the game picks. Mm-hmm. But before we get that, if the Dodgers have any chance of coming back, what do they have to do?
their pitching has to step up. They gave up what? First game, 5 runs. All right, not that bad. Second game, what was the score? What was the score of the second game again?
8-7.
8-7. They gave up 8 runs. Third game, they kind of kept it at a minimum, 3 runs. But that's not bad. 3 runs isn't really that bad. And then game 4, 10 runs. Excuse me, 10 runs. I think the bullpen and the pitching in general needs to reduce the ERA. Reduce the runs they give up. The offense is looking great, but
continue. What were you saying?
the pitching overall, I believe, as a pitcher, I play baseball as a pitcher. I believe that if the pitching steps up, pitching is like one of the biggest things you need to win. And if the pitching doesn't step up, you're not going to get anywhere. Your offense isn't going to mean anything.
I just see pitching does win championships. Don't get me wrong. Like, that's the same thing with football. Defense wins championships.
Absolutely.
But the problem I have with that is I think it has to do with the hitters. Because here's the thing. Pitching, it is so hard to pitch good against this Braves team, bro, dude.
It is.
When you have Ozzy Albies, when you have Freddie Freeman, Ronald Acuna, you can name them, bro. They're good offensively. They're good around the whole board. But it comes down to the guys that are the leaders of this team. We need guys to step up. Mookie Betts. We need guys to step up. Cody Bellinger. Justin Tucker. Corey Seager.
Corey Seager, yeah.
We need these guys to step up. That's the problem. The Dodgers need these guys to step up for 3 more games.
And a lot of those guys, Cody Bellinger, Mookie Betts, Clayton Kershaw, Justin Turner, like you just said, those guys, they've been to the World Series. They know this experience in the postseason. They got to step it up.
Right. And that's why I think it comes down to these hitters. These hitters got to make this an offensive game, but they got to come out with the last bat. And it's all about putting your bat on the ball. That's all it's about. But with the way it looks, after the Braves embarrassed them 2 times, because the Dodgers really my bad. After the Braves embarrassed the Dodgers, after the Dodgers embarrassed them, looks like the Braves just took this back, bro. The Dodgers can win another game, but I still think the Braves win this, bro, in either game 5 or game 6.
Maybe even 5.
It's 5 or 6. I don't think this is going to game 7 by no means.
I thought in the beginning it was going to 7 games because both teams just look really solid.
But hey, listen, look. This says 3-1. It doesn't say 4-1 yet, so I'm not buying that jersey.
No. Just wait for that phone call, man. Just wait for that phone call.
I'll be waiting. All right. Last topic of the game. Okay, game picks, bro. Here's how we're going to do this. We're going to pick these game picks, okay? Mm-hmm. You can agree. You don't have to pick the opposite team. It has something to do with that. All right, we're going to pick these game picks, bro. And here's what we're going to do. Whoever wins these game picks every week gets to pick out the first topic of every episode.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, cool. You want to start?
All right, I will start with my team, my Panthers. We are facing the Bears this week. Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. Our next 5 games, the Bears started off, we got to face other teams. Let me check it out real quick. The Panthers right now, you got to face the Bears right now. They're a very great defensive team. We got the Bears next. We got the Saints. The Falcons is pretty easy. And then we got the Chiefs and the Bucks. That's our next 5 games. Listen, man, the Panthers stepped it up. I thought after we went 0-2, I had to be honest with you, dude. I had to blame the defense because the defense was making too many mistakes. The Panthers won their last 3 games. Defensively, they stepped up. Offense never really was an issue. Aside from losing Christian McCaffrey. But without Christian McCaffrey, right now, we're 3-0. And the Bears are a pretty great defensive team. But I think this comes down to the wire. If you ask me, I think this comes down to the wire. But I think, not being biased, I think the Panthers win this game by a very close score because, if I'm being honest, Nick Foles hasn't really been as accurate as as he used to be. I should say it like that.
All right, look, man, look. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Teddy. I'm a big Teddy supporter, bro. But I got to give it to the Bears. Because personally, you guys have Curtis Samuel out. Not only that, and you guys are good offensively. We scored 20-plus points 4 out of the last 5 games.
Right.
But the Bears just know how to keep it close. And again, he showed it against Tom Brady. I know he's inconsistent, but I think he could show it against that Panthers defense. If this comes close and Nick Foles has that ball with the last I think he can win that game with a 1-game winning drive. So look, man, I'm gonna have to disagree. I'm gonna give you the Bears, but here's how we're gonna do this. I'm gonna give you all the games, bro. All right.
Very
We're gonna try to make this as quick as we can, okay? Because I know you got places to be.
Patriots and Broncos.
Patriots and Broncos. Give me the Pats, bro. Because
I
give me
agree.
the Patriots, and the reason
100%.
why is because guess who's coming? They got one positive case, but guess who's coming? Guess who's coming back?
Cam
Cam
Newton.
Newton,
My
baby.
boy Cam. Love
Guess
that
who's
guy.
coming back? Stephon Gilmore, baby. Julian Edelman. And you know what? The Broncos, they got a good rookie quarterback, but hey, give me the Patriots, bro. Bill Belichick is going to give this rookie quarterback a lesson, in my opinion.
I agree with you on that one.
All
All right,
right.
next one, Colts and Bengals.
Bengals?
I personally got the Colts.
I do too, and the reason why is because Colts have one of the best defenses out there right now.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I was just going to say.
The Browns beat them. I think the Browns beat them. Browns beat them last week, right?
I think it was a Browns. Yep, something like
Browns
that.
beat them last week, but guess what? That's one of the top offenses. But I think that the Colts are going to restructure themselves, come back. Hey, Xavier Rhodes is playing good. I didn't expect that of him. You still have Leonard, who's like one of the best tacklers in the game.
Right.
So you know what? Hey, look, and Phillip Rivers ain't playing bad. So
he ain't playing bad.
Give me the Colts. Give me the Colts. I think Joe Burrow is going to take a loss. I think he'll probably hit a good between 20 and 25. I think his struggles are going to continue. But,
yeah.
Hey, this is a lesson he's going to have to learn against the Colts. Come on, let's go.
Next one we got Vikings and Falcons. Man, let's be honest. I don't think the Falcons are going to win their first game for a while. So I give me the Vikings, man. I know that's your team, but like I'm not trying to jinx anybody. I think the Vikings are going to win.
Look, man. Look, I'm gonna have to go with my team too, and it's not because of bias or nothing like that.
I think it's because of the Falcons.
One thing I go with, we got Dalvin Cook out. Dalvin Cook is going to be out this game, and that's a big thing. Let's not forget though, against the third best rushing defense in Seattle, Alexander Madison, our second running back, Alexander Madison. Not Dalvin Cook. Alexander Madison played half that, probably like a good 3/4 of that game, not the whole game, and had 100+ yards against the third best rushing defense. So what does that tell you? Tell you? If a second string running back comes in and drops 100 yards on that team, plus, give me the Vikings, man. Okay, they're gonna go through Alexander Madison. I think he's gonna have another night. I don't think it's.
I think it's that because it's the Falcons. Their defense is terrible. Their offense was supposed to be booming, and they were, but then Dan Quinn made some pretty questionable mistakes. We all know, and I just think it's the Vikings. All right, next one, we got Giants and the football team. Oh God, that's a bad.
Give me the Giants. Give me the Giants.
Do I have to say who wins here? Because I personally think it's going to go into a tie. These two teams are absolutely terrible.
Are you actually predicting tie?
I'm predicting tie, man. Both offenses are terrible. Both defenses are terrible. I think it's going to be a tie. I think it's going to be a tie.
Okay. Alex Smith, God bless him, from coming back, stepping on this field, his first throws. We love to see Alex Smith.
That's coming from the heart.
Alex Smith, I think, is going to have a tough game next week against Giants. Okay, the Giants held their own against the Cowboys that first half. They were up 14-0 against Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott before Dak Prescott got hurt. Again, we're hoping for a speedy recovery from Dak Prescott. I'm not asking, you know what I'm saying?
Much love for you, Dak.
Yeah, same thing. Baby, right there in the heart. But here's the thing. I think the Giants beat the Washington football team for that reason alone. Not only that,
they held their own.
Chase Young, again, is out. There's your best pass rusher gone as a guy you were trusting. So now who do you rely on? So I think that the Giants win, bro.
If it's not a tie, then I say the Giants win by very, very close.
So your main prediction a tie?
My main prediction is a tie.
All right, go.
All right, next game, Titans, Texans. I got Titans. They were blowing. The Titans offense is absolutely explosive, and no disrespect to Deshaun Watson. I love that man. God bless him God bless him. But after DeAndre Hopkins left, I don't David. No disrespect to David Johnson, great player, but I don't think he's gonna beat the Titans with that offense.
See, I think the Titans win too. I agree with you, but I think this is gonna be more low scoring than you think. I do.
The defenses are stepping up.
Yeah, I think this might hit low 20s, man. I think it might be like.
I can agree to that.
I think it could be like 21-24 in my opinion. I think the Texans are gonna give the Titans a run for their money. And I think the Titans are gonna win at the end of the game. I think Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, I think they're gonna show up. I think they're gonna ball. I think they're gonna run behind that insane old line that they got. And I think that they're gonna win this thing.
I agree. Next game we got Lions and Jaguars. Oh, that's a tough one.
You know what? Give me Jaguars, bro.
I agree. Me agree on
Give me
that one.
Jaguars. Minshew mania, man. It's rolling, bro. What you gonna do, brother, when Minshew mania runs all over you?
This one's
Give
pretty.
me Minshew, bro.
Let's do it. Minshew it
Give me
is.
Minshew. I think Laviska Shenault is gonna have a good game. What? He might be out. I'm not sure.
Next
I'm not
game.
sure. But you know what?
Next,
Give me Minshew, bro.
I agree. Next game, Ravens Eagles. You already know who I'm saying. It's gonna be the Ravens.
Yes,
You can't
sir.
deny
Ravens.
You can't deny
The
Lamar
defense
Jackson.
is too
Sorry.
good. Lamar Jackson is too much of a baller.
Oh, here we
You know
go.
what I'm saying?
We got a
Marquise
good.
Brown.
We got a good game. I can't believe I'm saying this, man. The Browns and the Steelers, man.
That's a tough one, man.
That's a tough
Look,
one. I think. Oh man. Who do I think is going to win this game? That's a good question. I can't say a tie because the Browns are starting to step it up. The Steelers haven't been that bad of a team. But if I have to be honest, I think the Browns are going to take it because if you look at the teams the Steelers faced, most of those, they're 4-0. But most of those teams they faced were not really that good. So I think in my opinion, this is the Steelers' first test. I think the Browns win this. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a very close score.
Look, man, here's what I'm gonna do. Okay. I got Steelers.
I got
Steelers. Yes, because despite who they've played, okay, they had some struggles against the Broncos, but the past few games they've been balling.
Right.
And I think Juju Smith is gonna be a big factor here. I think James Conner is gonna be a big factor. Let's not forget, there's a rookie wide receiver on that team. Went to Notre Dame. Shout out to Notre Dame. That's my team right there, bro. Name Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool has been balling for that team.
Right.
He's been balling. Okay, we talk about Justin Jefferson. I love him. That's my guy right there. We talk about CeeDee Lamb. I'm balling there. That's my guy. But give me Chase, man. Chase. So I got Steelers for that game. Their defense is really good. I think they're gonna give Baker Mayfield a hard time. I think that run game is gonna get stopped because they got one of the best running defenses. And I think it's going to be relying on Mayfield. I don't think Mayfield is going to come in clutch for that game.
Steelers defense better put up some great numbers for me on fantasy. But anyway, all right, we got another horrible game incoming. We got the Jets and the Dolphins.
Dolphins, give me it.
Dolphins, let's do it. All right.
Dolphins. Hey, let me tell you something. The Dolphins are riding a wave, bro. The Dolphins are riding a wave. They kicked the snot last week out of
49ers. Bro. That was ridiculous.
Dolphins, watch out. They're a team on the rise right there.
I personally think they're a sleeper team. Will they make the playoffs this year? Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see. And also because it's the Jets. The Jets are terrible. Anyway, next game. Buccaneers, Packers. Who you got?
Buccaneers, Packers. Dude, listen. I want the Buccaneers to win. Okay, I want the Buccaneers to win.
Yeah,
all right, bro. Give me the Pack. I think Packers win this, bro.
I think the Packers win. I need the Bucs to lose because I don't want Tom Brady leading my division. My Panthers need to take that lead, they need to lose. Win? I think the Packers will win, without a doubt.
Okay.
I think the Bucs defense is going to be too weak against Aaron Rodgers. All right.
And the Monday games we'll save for and the next 3 Monday games we're going to save that for Monday's episode.
All right, well,
2. But we ain't going to touch on that yet.
This is the last game for Sunday. We got Rams, 49ers. Who you got?
I think I think, bro.
What do you think?
I think Jimmy Garoppolo was like, you know what? That was a bad game for me coming back. I'm a ball out. I'm not gonna let Jalen Ramsey bully my wide receivers and everything like that. You give me the Niners for that game, dude. And let me tell you something. I think the Niners teach the Rams a good lesson here. You give me the Niners, bro. And now I'm gonna say this because you think the Rams?
I think the Rams only because the 49ers are still missing key players. I think that's the reason. I think that's the reason why the 49ers haven't been so successful this year is because of they're missing key players, and I truly think that's
who they missing.
They're still missing a lot of their starters. I can't really remember who. I know George Kittle came back. Jimmy G's finally back. The last couple weeks they've been struggling because they've been mostly playing their C team.
Right.
That's not good.
Right.
But I think maybe the Niners win this. I think it's going to be a close game, but give me the Rams on this one. I think the Rams are going to find a way to win this.
They got Quan Alexander out. They got their running back Wilson questionable. Their safety Harris is questionable, and their quarterback Mosley is questionable. So they got a lot of questionable guys right there. The Rams, they got
most of their team is back.
Okoronkwo. I think I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, man. But that's their linebacker that's out, and they got Kaiser the linebacker questionable. But other than that, this is gonna be coming to skill. And I think when it comes skill to skill, I think I think Kittle's gonna come out with a ball, ball out this game. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is gonna ball out this game, prove why he is still one of the top quarterbacks in this league. And despite the stats, he proves it with that time management, with that Tom Brady time management that he's learned that he's one of the best quarterbacks in this league. So our game picks are done for Sunday. But let me ask you, we got one question here. Out of all these games that you're looking at, okay, which one do you think is the most anticipated game, or which one do you believe is the game of Sunday?
Ooh. I think it's gonna be the Steelers and Browns fight, to be honest with you. I think the battle for the AFC North is going to be crazy. The Ravens, the Browns are finally starting to live up to expectations. The Steelers are finally starting to become good again. I think that's going to be the most exciting game, in my opinion. I think the battle of AFC North is going to be absolutely crazy, and I feel like that's going to be a very high scoring game. I really think so.
I think it's going to be the Packers and the Bucks. Because here's the thing. Last year, we used to see Rodgers and Brady once every 4 years, and those two have been two of the premier quarterbacks in our league.
Now we get
the way Rodgers is bowling this year, it's been insane. And Brady, even though he hasn't been past Brady, it's still Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So whenever I see Rodgers and Tom Brady on my screen, I got to watch it. I got to see who comes out. In the last two games, the last game that happened, Brady beat Rodgers.
Right.
The game before that, Rodgers beat Brady. And so these are the two games I could recall and everybody else could recall. So this game right here, not only is it a statement for the Packers and Aaron Rodgers saying like, look, I can beat any NFC team you put in front of me, but it's also a proving statement for Tom Brady saying, hey, look, I ain't done. This old man,
Absolutely.
this 44-year-old old man ain't done yet because I just came in here and I just went up against Aaron Rodgers and I beat him. So this is going to be a big bragging rights game, and you're going to see a lot of intensity out of both these quarterbacks because they both want to win. So this is my game of the week right here, or this Sunday, my Sunday game is going to be Packers and Buccaneers, bro.
I think it's good.
All right. Is there anything else you want to touch up on, and anything else?
That's it, man.
What were you saying? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
I was gonna say I have the Steelers and Browns.
Gotcha.
Both are going to be very exciting games.
Got you. One thing I want to we're gonna touch on this real quick because I didn't touch on it before, but going back to the COVID thing, we didn't really talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
The Falcons, they announced today that they were gonna reopen their facilities, and the
Patriots just announced they closed.
Yeah, because originally it was supposed to be postponed, but now they brought it back, and it's all good. And the Patriots have another positive test. So let me ask you something. Do you think that in football, college, NFL alone, because there have been a lot of COVID cases, do you think that this could possibly affect the NFL in a negative way? Like, do you think that teams are going to, because there's rumors about teams maybe having to forfeit? That's like, not now, but like they're going to speculation about that. Do you think this is a negative effect on football? Do you think it's going to come down to teams forfeiting, or do you think it's just, well, this game's postponed to a later date?
Well, I think this is going to be a negative effect on the NFL itself, and here's why. I personally don't believe. I know canceling the preseason was kind of like to increase COVID, protocols, but I look at the MLB situation with COVID. How difficult of a time they were having with it. Some teams had to stop. They had their 60-game schedule. Working on a very tight schedule. That's just a league that plays 162 games a year, and now they're reducing it to less than half of what they play a year. The NFL, I personally think they're having a harder time with it than the MLB did, because I don't think they expected, the COVID to rise up again, knowing, it's winter and it's going to rise up a little more again. I don't think Roger Goodell was prepared enough for something like this to happen. And I think this is going to have a negative effect on football because I personally don't think Roger Goodell was prepared for all of this.
Do you think at least the teams happen to forfeit in the later future?
I personally don't think so. I mean, I think with the replacing certain teams bye weeks with the teams that needed to play because of their COVID effect, I think that is a great. I think that's a good idea. I don't think it's great, but it's good. You know, it's something. But as far as forfeiting, I truly don't think that's gonna happen.
I think it's weird because like obviously we kind of expected I kind of expected a lot of COVID
Yeah,
cases here
I did too.
because compared to like NBA, NHL, they were in a bubble. These guys have to travel. I was seeing it, but I don't know. I think it's weird. I want to know what they're gonna do come playoffs. They're gonna because they might have to even extend the playoffs because if a team has to postpone a game, then it could possibly affect that team's momentum if they have like a wave riding, or maybe it affects the other team in a good way because they get to heal. Somebody might be hurt and they might have more time to heal. So I mean, we're gonna have to see in the future, but this is definitely a problem. We're all trying to adjust to it.
Yeah,
But we're gonna see in the future. I just hope NFL gets to
I hope.
continue. I hope no
I hope.
teams have to forfeit.
Man, I can't live without football. None of us crazy Americans
All
can.
right, all right,
But
all right. Is there anything you want to
yeah,
add today?
no, that's it. I think we covered everything. Successful first
All
episode,
right,
man.
all right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the first episode of All You Can Talk Sports. I'm your boy M-Carp, aka Mario Carpenteri. That's your
I'm
boy Soupy,
I'm
aka
your
Nate
boy
Campbell.
Soupy, man. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you like our content.
And see you guys for episode 2.